Hi everyone, Lisa Woking here, stopping by for another little observation that I've made and shared with a group of team leaders this morning. It's in relation to the accountability conversation or holding people accountable. What I was sharing was that often it is scary to hold people accountable. We think it's a confrontational conversation and therefore we want to avoid it. And what I was sharing was that human beings, human nature typically is to do more to avoid pain than it is to gain pleasure. So if we haven't articulated, first of all, to our team what the expectations are by way of values for behaviour, job description for expectations of tasks done, and any other policy procedure that is expected to be completed by your team. If we haven't articulated that in writing, first of all, then we don't have anything to hold people accountable to. So that's the first piece. But then once we've articulated that, if we don't follow through, if we don't hold people accountable to that expectation, then what we realize all unconsciously is that it's easier to not meet that expectation or to not do that task than it is to actually have to do the work and do the task or meet that expectation. And given that human behavior is naturally to do more to avoid pain than it is to gain pleasure, people are more likely to just not do it rather than to do it because that's what's expected, that's the job. And so our job as leaders is to make it more painful, so to speak, more painful to not do the job than it is just to do the job. Meet the task, meet the expectation, and get on with our day. So this is what's playing out, right? And then as a leader, we're also human, surprisingly, and we then have this same thing playing out for us. So what we think sometimes this can play out is that it's more painful for me to have that conversation than it is to just head in the sand and not. So whilst our team need us to hold them accountable to ensure they do the work that needs to be done in order to meet the expectations to achieve the big picture of the vision of the company, we are avoiding because we are perceiving that conversation as a confrontational conversation. We are perceiving it as a difficult or challenging conversation. So I want to pose this to you. What if this conversation was an act of service? What if this conversation was a heartfelt gesture of service to help this person realize their greatest potential? And that just simply by doing this task or meeting this expectation or acting in this way, that would help their performance, their outcome, their results improve. What if we looked at that conversation as an act of service rather than a confrontational conversation? And that way, first of all, it's not painful. So we're not avoiding pain by not having that conversation. But two, then we're not skipping those conversations, which I don't know whether you've experienced it, seen it, observed it, been a part of it. But if we have an environment, if we're a leader of a team and we consistently avoid those conversations, we don't have conversations because we think we don't want to have that confrontation, the pain that comes down the track from that, whether it be staff turnover, customer complaints, difficulty or conflict within the team, there's a whole heap of more pain coming if we don't hold our team to a standard that we have defined. So it's much easier when you look at it from that perspective, that the pain of that is just, it's almost like it can cost you your career, it can cost you the performance of your business, it can cost you, like there's so much expense to not having those accountability conversations when it happens. So when we look at it from that perspective, an active service conversation where it's my intention is wholly and solely to simply help you get the best results you can possibly get. Let's have a chat about this. And there is an easy process for you to do that then results often in the person walking away saying, thank you so much for that conversation. I really appreciate that. That is where the gold is in leadership. And that's what I shared with these team leaders this morning. And I just wanted to pop by and share it with you as well, because I think this is a huge opportunity for so many of us leaders to step into being the leader and step away from just being a bystander, if you like. So enjoy. Happy leaders, happy teams, happy business. Bye for now.